Hello, and welcome to Great Reviews It All. And today I'm going to be talking about Zatima, episodes 19 and 20. Um, don't mind me, y'all, my allergies. I'm dealing with a flare up right now. Weather out here in Texas is all over the place. But anyway, stay on topic. So, starting off with episode 19, they pick up from where the doctor is coming back out to speak to Zach with an update. Fatima is there at this point. So the doctor basically tells him that at this point they've done all that they can do. She's currently on life support, and without those machines, she would not be breathing. She has no brain activity whatsoever. And it's just too much damage has been done, in order to save her. So, of course, it's a really emotional moment. We know that Zach, he's been going through it with his mom and his brother. So, just to hear the doctor say that, of course, he's going to have some type of emotional reaction. And then there comes the topic of what do they want to do as far as when would they like to move forward with removing her from the machine, because at this point she's a vegetable. Those are my words. They didn't say that. Those are my words. So at this point, Jeremiah, he's back. So he hears the conversation. He's extremely emotional as well, but then also let's not forget that he's also on drugs, so his mental state is just not fully, it's not all there. So he gets to cursing, getting loud, talking crazy to the doctor, cursing at everybody, including Fatima, who's just trying to be there to support Zach, right? So once again, mind you, the doctor at this point done already had to say, hey, you keep it up, I'm gonna have to call security to come escort you on up out of here. And at this point, he done disrespected Zatima once again. And Zach knocked him smooth out to the floor. Now, the doctor, she saw it, and Zach is just like, I'm so sorry. She was like, it's okay. She was like, because if you didn't just do that, the security was probably gonna do the same thing. So it was like, we'll get a nurse to come and check on him and make sure he's all right. Moving on. Zach wants to go see his mom. So they go in. He wants Fatima to go in there with him. She has to be a strong woman to do something like this. And I know there's people out there in the world who have had to be there in scenarios like this. And it's not easy to watch your loved one go through this with a parent or anyone, close to them. So, that scene was a lot, and just in him asking her, what she's gonna say. No, she can't say that. She has to come in there, right? So, he goes in, and at this point, when he sees her, he's working through his emotions, letting it out. But in the process of doing this, he's blaming himself. Why did I do that? Why did I give you that money? And I'm just like, dude, don't do the blame game, because at this point, whether you gave it to her, whether you gave it to Jeremiah, either one of them, they were gonna, either way, they would have found what they wanted regardless. So giving her money, whatever amount of money, whatever, it wouldn't have mattered. Zach, it was bound to happen eventually. So I just hate that he feels guilty, He's letting Jeremiah get into his head. Now, as they're in there dealing with this, the freaking hospital billing specialist comes in. When I tell you, my first mind was just like, oh my God, that's terrible bedside manner. You come in there ready to talk to him about the bills and how things are going to get paid. And it's like, ma'am, this is not a good time. Not right now. Like, give them a second to process what's going on. Like, that's terrible. So he basically is like, Fatima's like, I'll talk to you or whatever. She was like, well, who are you? He's like, that's my wife. Oh, okay, well, I'll allow it. ma'am, you didn't have a choice. Little did you know. Regardless, Zach was not going to talk to you about no money right there at that particular time. So, pulls her out. They get to talking about the finances and how much it's going to cost, and she doesn't have insurance. And I just was like, oh my gosh, like I was cringing through that whole scene because that was just a whack, okay, very whack. And Fatima held herself together so good during that, trying to be, nice. And then come to find out, y'all, the check that Zach wrote for her previous hospital bill, it bounced. It just was like, okay, so now that's kind of another flag as to like, Zach, what's going on with your finances, buddy? But regardless of the fact, it's gonna be a problem when it comes to the money that it would take to leave her on the machine, and then also for what it already is costing for her to have been there already. So in the end, she just told her, oh, I'll talk to him about it. Like, girl, what you want them to say? What you gonna put her out? Y'all can't put her out of the hospital. She's already in there. She's on the machine. You can't just kick a patient out because they don't have no insurance. Like, come on. Anyway, now at this time, Jeremiah, he comes into the room, and then Fatima comes in as well, and then Jeremiah, he's back on the same thing, saying, little things and just being just nasty and saying the nastiest thing. Fatima is just like, was about to try to see if she can get him to step out, but Zach is like, girl, don't, it's gonna be all right. She's like, because he's not gonna leave this room, which I felt the same way. It was like, don't even waste your time trying to get him out of there. It's not gonna happen. Now, at this point, outside of the hospital, Bryce, he comes flying into Angela's place. I mean, when I tell you Bryce is on edge, he's freaking out. He's like, I don't have no money. I'm going to pay my bills. All my accounts are frozen, my cards. And she's just like, what's going on? He's basically being told that his assets are frozen right now because of something pertaining to Zach, I guess. And I'm just like, all right, could this possibly be, from the initial situation that he had with that stock that he was investing in? Could that be what it is? Are they coming back on him after doing further investigation? Is that going to be, what's going to be going on? So, it's like, I initially did not, that's what my thought was, that it could be that. But again, we don't know because right now, Zach is in the hospital dealing with his mom being on life support. So that's the priority at the moment. The priority is not, Bryce, what you got going on. Figure it out, okay? Figure it out. Call your dad to help you pay whatever bills is due. If you got any friends of him that can help you out until you get that sorted out with Zach. Chill. Go take a chill pill. Like Angela even had to say, oh, okay, hold on. Let me get you a drink, honey, because you is on 10. He wanted her to call Zach, or to call Fatima, to, try to get a hold of Zach and find out what's going on. And she's like, I know it's not a good time right now. But she called Fatima anyway. In talking to Fatima, that's when Angela finds out that Zach's mom is on life support. So she was just like, oh, okay. So Angela opted not to say anything to Fatima, even though it's not this close. If she would have kept talking, Fatima would have eventually pulled it out of her, but she didn't. She left it alone. This boy, Bryce, I'm talking about, even after finding out that about the life support thing and Zach's mom, he was literally like, okay, well, what hospital is that? And Angela's like, I know you is not going up there. Like, absolutely not. Bryce, if you would have went up in that hospital talking to Zach the way he was on these 2 episodes, that attitude he had, baby, Zach probably would have laid his tail out something good, okay? Anyway, back over at the hospital, you have Zach and Jeremiah, because they're going back and forth at this point because of the whole life support thing. Do we keep her on it a little bit longer? Do we, take her off? How long do we let this go on? Zach is in the mental is in a more of a space of, look, financially it's gonna cost to keep her on this machine, however she is brain dead. If that were you in that type of scenario, would you want your family members to have you laying up in a hospital room looking like that? Or to go ahead and let you go and let you move on? That was where he was coming from. And Jeremiah, he's from the point of, no, look at her. She's not gone. She's still here. She's still here. And it's like, no, honey. It's a rough place to be in, but that's what it is. The machine is the only reason that she's breathing, and that's the only reason why, what's going on is what's going on. But Jeremiah, he's not seeing it that way. And Zach has even made it a point to point out that, she gets a check every month. Jeremiah's probably going to try to let that linger, let her stay on that machine for as long as possible in order to get her check and try to find a way to cash it. That's kind of how Zach is looking at it, because he knows his brother is an addict. It's just a part of it. So that's that. Now, Nathan and Tony, they came back up to the hospital, just to kind of check in on Zach. Nathan, he officially apologizes to Fatima, and I'm hoping to see better things coming from Nathan. Poor guy, he tries and then he always oversteps or takes it a bit too far. Like, sir, if you're getting to know Fatima, you got a baby stepper. You can't just jump back in there and just do what you do. So he just made it very clear. Your friend is the one who did that. I did not know, but when I found out, he told the guys. Now, Zach, he comes back after the guys, they leave. Tony's like, let me know. I want to be here for Zach, so I'm gonna go back to work. But let me know what's going on. I'll come back. Zach comes out, and they talk to the doctor again. And basically, there's him. We need to know what you want to do. She basically, in discussion of the whole thing with the life support, signing off on them, turn the machine off, finds out that she does not have a power of attorney. Which means in order for them to remove her off of the system, Zach and Jeremiah have to sign off on it. So they're going to have a time in trying to get, now the whole point is they will have to get him to agree to sign it. I have not sleepy, y'all. Don't mind me. So that's what's going on pretty much with that. Pretty much this whole episode was basically what was going on at the hospital between Zach, Jeremiah, Fatima being present, and then with the mom and the doctor. And then on the outside, you have what was going on with Bryce. Angela's involved because Bryce they still talk to each other on a friend level. So that's that. Now, Fatima tells Zach at the hospital, you do not have to make a decision today. They are not just going to put her out. That would be one world of a lawsuit for them if they did her like that. Sleep on it. Come back tomorrow, and we'll revisit this tomorrow. Now, Zach, he convinces her, okay, fine. He convinces her to go home with him. Of course, she's not going to leave him, by himself in this time of need. All of that little extra stuff that they had going on right now, all of that takes a back seat because she wants to be there and focus on him, because she didn't want to not be with Zach. She just wanted him to respect her more and understand and fix himself to be a better man for her. She needs to work on some things herself, and I'll get to that. So that's that. Now, Fatima, in talking to him, they finally get him home. He finally gets home. Jeremiah is there in the hospital. He's not going to go nowhere. Talks to him, and it's basically like, I'm suggesting you really need to talk to the therapist to help you work through this, because that's going to be a lot. It's a lot to take in. And I think he's in agreement with that, and I'm hoping that we will down the line see him still doing therapy and working on himself and helping him process things and how to work through them. Now, when I tell you And I thought it was the worst idea. And I think even Fatima told Angela, not tonight. I wouldn't say don't come over tonight. Zach's probably not going to do food with nobody. He ain't going to food with nobody. Angela and Bryce show up at their house. Bryce comes in. They're talking. Check in on Zach. And when I tell you, Bryce goes straight to the point of basically accusing Zach of doing something illegal. And I'm not talking about the thing with the stock. He's talking about they said that they did this to my account because I'm associated with you. Basically accusing him of doing something. And that right there is a red flag to me when it comes to dealing with Bryce. That's one of the red flags. Because the first time that something went wrong when it came to the money, your first thought was that Zach must have done something, you know? And that's real. You don't want no business partner like that. Now, mind you, even with that going up, Angela told Bryce not to say anything because the timing was completely wrong. But Bryce, he's like, no, we need to figure this out ASAP. So that's where it ended at. Now, keeping it moving, right on to the next episode, episode 20. Zach, obviously, he tripped out. He didn't go crazy on Bryce. He just got up and he walked off. Apparently, Zach went to go check with his bank. Come to find out, his account was overdrawn. And guess who was the culprit? Zach said that his personal account is covered by the business account, or I forgot how he worded that. Regardless of the fact, Bryce, against what Zach as the business partner said, which he said, no, I do not agree to doing this business deal. We do not have the money for it. No, he said no, right? Okay. Bryce went out and did it anyway. And in the ending result, it ended up in all of Zach's, his money is basically gone. It's either gone or it's side up. I forget how they worded it. But point of the matter, the point is, Bryce was the one who made that happen. Or is the reason why that happened. And did not mention that Gary's name would probably be somewhere in the mix in this. And whose name came up in this? Gary. Okay? So, we're going to have to find out. And I'm just going to jump right on ahead as to how that's going to play out. Because is this a scenario where Gary took the money and he didn't move forward with whatever they was going to do, and Gary just took the money? Regardless of the fact, Bryce has to take responsibility for this, and Zach explained everything. And I was just like, Zach took it really easy on him, because at this point, you messed with his money, you know? And you went against him as your business partner. He said, no, it wasn't a good idea. He didn't agree to it. You did it anyway. That is the second red flag that I have with Bryce. And I think that once Zach gets situated with everything with his mom and that's all sorted out, he needs to revisit this whole business thing that he has going on with Bryce, because if that's the kind of business partner that Bryce is going to be, I don't think Zach is going to be good over there. You know, and then anytime that something goes wrong, Bryce is going to immediately think that Zach did something illegal. You know, and so you don't want to be in business with somebody like that. So yeah, but in the end, Bryce is like, oh, I'm gonna fix it. Yeah, you better fix it, and you needed to apologize to him as well. Talking about, I just called my dad. He said he's gonna help me out. Yeah, you better figure it out and get Zach his money back. Even with all of that, Fatima's like, Zach, you know, I'm gonna help you out. Zach, being the man that he is, he's like, no, you're not doing that. I'm gonna figure it out. She's like, boy, look, we in this together. We a team. I got you. Okay? Zach, just take it for now. And when you get yourself sorted out, pay her back if need be, if that's going to make you feel better. Now, moving on. I just talked about the whole thing with Bryce and with Zach. So there's nothing really more to say on that until we really... I don't know if this... I don't know if this was the season finale or we're going to get more, but we're going to see. I will say that also a part of this episode, Fatima actually went back to the hospital by herself. She went back to the hospital. You know, she was able to get Zach to go to sleep, get a little rest. She went back to the hospital and she spoke to Jeremiah. Now that conversation was very interesting. It took a lot of patience for her to talk to him. She basically told him, I work for a law firm. I know people who deal with this kind of stuff. And in your current condition, we can get Zach power over your mom. Now, she basically told him, I can do it, but I do not want to do it. I want you to make the best decision for her. Would you want someone to have you in there like that? Do you know if she would be okay with being in there like that? And he, was able to comprehend that. In the end, they were able to come to some kind of level conversation and ended up with a hug in the end, and him seeing the side of what they were trying to say. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I was just like, Fatima, don't hug him, girl, because I was like, he might steal something off of you. I ain't gonna lie, that's how I felt about that, but that's how I felt. It looked like he put his hand in her purse and then put his hand in his pocket when he hugged her. That's what I thought I saw, but I could be tripping. I'm pretty sure, or I would hope, that Fatima at that point would have realized from the time she left the hospital and went home and something was missing out of her bag. So I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to leave it at that. Now, so they ended on a good note. Now, by the time she gets back home, Zach is up, and he was just calling her to find out where the heck she was. And she comes in, they talk. He actually finds out from Fatima that Connie is the one who told her about him being at the hospital with his mom. But in the midst of them just having a conversation about Jeremiah and everything, they get the call from the doctor that she's going into cardiac arrest and they need to get to the hospital now. So they jump up, they're out. Once they get there, they go in, say their final goodbye. And for a split second, him and Zach, they have somewhat of a decent conversation. Even then, he wants Jeremiah to try to get himself together. He's offering to help him out. But again, you cannot help someone in a situation like that when they're dealing with any type of addiction if they do not want to fix it themselves. So that's that. And he basically told him, like, I'm ready to go. I'm about to be out of there. Do what you gotta do. Right. Now they end up taking Jeremiah home. He went up there to retrieve a VHS tape. Or he didn't know what it was. It was a box. But what was in the box was a VHS tape that his mom was holding specifically for him. And Jeremiah told him about that. So, in the end, Connie, while Fatima was out there waiting on Zach to come back, Connie came up. And I was just like, Connie, now didn't you say you had how many kids? And what time of night is this? I mean, I'm so confused. Why is you not in the house with your kids? Whatever. She comes up, she speaks. They have a decent little conversation, before Zach comes back down. He comes back down, they, speak. And when I tell you Fatima was giving him a look. And I'm just like, that's one of the things with Fatima that when I say she still has some things to work on, that's one of the things I'm talking about, because that whole scenario right there, that was so unnecessary coming from her. They were being respectful to each other. Yes, they have history, but he didn't say nothing out of pocket, and in that moment, she didn't say nothing out of pocket. They hugged, and you walked. As they were standing there talking to each other, she had a look on her face. And as they were getting ready to leave, he gave her a hug. She made a noise, and she gave him a look as she was going to go get in the car. And it was just like, Fatima, that wasn't even necessary. But that's one of the things I noticed. I'm just like, girl, come on. All right? I thought y'all moving on. Now, with this VHS tape, he's like, where the heck I'm going to go watch this at? She's like, you know what? We have one in the office that we use to transfer, whatever to whatever device they need to transfer it to. But regardless, they got one. So they go to her office, which I think is very weird that you can just easily at any time go into your office and use the stuff. I'm confused about that, but whatever. We're going to roll with it. They went up there, put the tape on, and it is a video of him and his brother and his mom when they were younger. And he finally gets to hear her say that she loves him. Obviously, from looking at the video at this point, she was already on drugs at this time. And she left them playing at the park while she went off to go do whatever she was going to go do. And, of course, that brought on some emotions from him. And that was that. Now, they were having a really good, talk. Throughout the afternoon, they had already kind of spoken to each other about about him being a good husband, wanting to be a good father, and and all of that. When I tell you, the bomb that I was not expecting from Zatima came, and that just blew me away. Zatima says that she is pregnant. I was not expecting that, y'all. But now I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. That's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see what happens with that storyline. And then also, I am wondering, ma'am, how long have you known that you were pregnant? And I'm hoping that it was not within that time frame that you were laid up in the bed, kissing on Paul, and allowing him to kiss on you too. So when did you find out that your tail was pregnant? Just saying. Those are my thoughts on these last two episodes, or the latest two episodes of Zatima. It was really good. You could tell that they were trying to tie up some loose ends. So we're going to have to see what happens moving forward. I don't know. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a beautiful, wonderful Friday. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.